Hello, I am Internet Personality Gonzaki, and this is the Green Dumpster Gaming Podcast.
We're going back in time again.
No, we're going forward
Exterminate.
in time.
Got to go back in time.
No.
Exterminate.
Enough with
Exterminate.
the Doctor references.
No. All
I
the
try to be
documents.
subtle with it, and you guys go, oh, subtlety. Pfft, this will not do. We're going full blatant. What are you, the video game
Dino,
industry?
sweet
Of course.
golden axe.
No. Just no.
uh,
Perfect.
Alright,
Uh,
diving in. Um, Poor franchise sales across the industry for March, with Gears of War Judgment and God of War Ascension getting the worst of it. Tomb Raider sold better than the two of those games combined, with Bioshock Infinite racking in the most sales. And also, just retail sales were down across the board, giving more credence to the idea that just the market itself is trending digital. Um,
or the fact that we don't have money.
that too,
That too.
but it just retail sales are down, digital sales are up. So maybe it's probably a combination of the two. Um, I personally, looking at the Gears and God thing and having played both of them, I think part of it was just while both games are okay, we really didn't need them. They could have put those off until the next generation, and they probably would have done better sales
They,
wise.
they really, really could have with Gears of War Judgment. But
Gears of War
I
Judgment was something that the um overall Gears crowd didn't seem to be chomping at the bit for. Obviously, they wanted it because they wanted a new game, but it's not like they needed it now. And God of War Ascension kind of really just dumbed down the series too much. Because does God of War need any more prequels? We get it. Kratos is completely unlikable.
And then he stomped a Fury's face in.
Yeah, he did a lot of other cool things too.
a trophy. Controversial. Dumbasses.
Yeah, we
I'm
have
just
learned a lesson with trophies.
You know they should make an achievement in a future game that the achievement is this achievement is controversial.
or just
And
maybe make it
ironically, the achievement probably would be controversial.
I'm sorry, but see, the thing is, I would want to see, like, for Gears of War, I'd like to see them do a open mouth insert foot achievement for when they do the curb stomp, like so many times. Essentially, 1,000 curb stomps
Every
achievement.
day.
Now, see, I would kind of like to see a more open worldy Gears of War game. Keep the third person shooting, but try and go for something a little more or a little broader. Now that just place it after the emergence war is over and the world is rebuilding, and you automatically you've got something similar to Fallout. But I like Fallout.
Everybody likes Fallout.
But then if you're going after the like if you're going after Gears 3, you really got nothing to play then.
Well, that's I'm not entirely true. They're obviously you're not going to have Locust or Lambent running around, but you're still going to have jackasses in cities who don't want to be helpful and or might want to kill you for your shiny armor.
True, true. There is
That or you could be one of the jackasses trying to kill Gears for their shiny armor.
and then there is that idea. Good one.
There's the whole war against the UIR now that they've gone into that in Judgment as well.
Yeah,
There's always that.
Gears versus Halo. Go.
No, we will not do that here.
that would actually be kind of funny. Just
No, I'm talking about the
have
game. Make a game. Gears
Yeah,
versus Halo.
yeah.
That'd be difficult because you've got third person and first person going together, and that just that doesn't blend very well.
Well, what the Aliens versus Predator did the asymmetrical gameplay pretty well.
I don't know. Honestly, I would have to see it in action before I would be able to say
Yeah.
heads or tails on it. But right now, it's I'm gonna
Microsoft would
just
be up
say
for it because
Yeah.
it would be combining two boats into one massive yacht of money.
That's if the fans would buy into it, though. Each fan.
I think they
Hold on,
would.
hold on.
Yes.
Eddie, back up for a second.
All right, I'll back up.
If they will, when they will.
Yeah.
There's some, but then there's. Screw it. I scoop on this subject.
Eddie, Professor Layton, and Phoenix Wright, and you're saying that they can't make
Hey.
Gears
Yeah,
Gears
crossover
versus
games work
Halo?
very well for combining two fan bases.
The way I
Hell,
see
it
it
might
is
even get
this.
the two fan bases to leave each other alone as far as internet flaming goes.
That's
Now
the
all we need
issue
is
that I
Halo
have.
versus Call of Duty.
That's the issue that you would have there is the the two sides going against each other trying to that. Now, Professor Layton and Phoenix Wright, I would pick that up if I could get my hands on it right now, but I can't because
I'm just saying.
I love Phoenix Wright.
I'm just saying you're going. They're similar, but they're two different play styles. I don't see how they're going to do it. Cough, cough. They're doing it.
No, there's a difference, my good sir. Good difference.
They've
I'd say
done
the
it
difference
before.
is the fan bases. The Professor Layton and Phoenix Wright fan bases don't hate each other.
Yes, that
No.
helps.
Gears and Halo don't hate each other as much as Halo and COD do.
True enough. Two different game styles. Um, anyway, moving on. Pikmin 3 announced for a release date of August 4th.
Thank
Which
you.
which brings up my thing of I understand that the Nintendo philosophy is the rushed game is bad forever. Completely understandable. But when you have a launch console going on its 6 month of no really worthwhile games, and you're announcing that your first worthwhile game is going to be another 4 months away, I think you kind of have to kick that notion on the head. I understand you don't want to do it, but if you want your console to succeed, you have to have a good game on it.
See, I
This
agree
is
with
true.
Nintendo. I agree with Nintendo just because I'm the type of gamer who I keep my systems. And I have to realize that at some point, yay, we're going, oh, interconnected systems. We can do patches up the wazoo. It doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is, at some point in time, the service is going to be disconnected for those games. Now, the people who only buy current consoles and get rid of the old consoles, that's never going to be a problem. But for me and for gamers like me, and I know Eddie and several other people out there, that's going to be a problem when, let's say, you get a used game and you can't patch it, and you end up with something like Skyrim unpatched with all the
I don't think that
backups.
will ever actually be a problem, so long as you can put memory on the console. For Wii U, I believe it has just SD memory cards will work with it. Then you can get the patch on there.
I'm gonna throw it out
It may
there.
have to someone on the internet may have to jury rig a solution together, but the solution will be available.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it out there like this. The most recent Nintendo Direct that happened last Wednesday was for the 3DS. Granted, that 3DS drum's already beating as hard as it can right now because people are chomping at the bit for Pokemon X and Y. Come October, that thing's gonna skyrocket. As you've made mention yesterday when we discussed a little bit of this before we did another little ditty. But right now, I think Nintendo's holding its cards for E3. And the reason I say that is because right now, Microsoft's really silent on their new system, and Sony, while they're drumming hype, to me, there's not enough hype there for me to leap at Sony and go, gimme.
Hmm. My only thing is saving your cards for E3 means that you're going to be pushing these new games even further out of the launch window. Um, and there's just not a reason to buy. Like, I can understand the 3DS. It's got some games. I wouldn't say it has any must-have games yet, but it's got some okay games. Whereas the Wii U, from its lineup, I just haven't seen anything you couldn't get a similar experience to elsewhere.
I've got a
I think that's one thing that Nintendo probably should have thought of as they are starting to develop the Wii U is work on a major console title to be coming out simultaneously with the Wii U. Not a lot of recycled games from the Xbox from the Xbox 360 and PS3. And people will argue, well, we got new Super Mario Brothers U, but I'm sure again will argue, and with some good reason, that's really not the big title we were looking for. We're looking
Exactly.
for a title. If we're looking for a Mario title, we're looking for a title like Super Mario World, which released with the system, with the Super Nintendo. We're looking at Super Mario 64, which was one of two titles for the Super, which was only one of only two titles to release with the system, and it made the system worthwhile to get.
Mhm.
We have not seen that from we have really not seen that from Nintendo, um, both with the Wii and with the Wii U at launch.
Mhm. And I have a few ideas for what they could have done. It's
Yeah,
Pikmin could have released earlier. They could have did a Mario Galaxy U. They could
yeah.
have done a. This one would have sold like Billio. They could have done a Pokemon Coliseum type game.
Oh dear God, if they would have done
I'll
that.
throw out one because you were talking about they had nothing worthwhile that was a big release, and just this past week, a game released for the Wii, the defunct Nintendo system, got a brand new game this week, and it's selling out. It's getting rave reviews, and that's Pandora's Tower because we finally got it over here stateside. Now,
Mhm.
here's the question: I understand they'll be. Why couldn't they have looked at that and tweaked it a little bit to to justify it for the Wii U and released it as a Wii U game instead of a Wii game, and the Wii U would have had a major must-have game that would have justified it as we wait for Pikmin.
Mhm.
Here's the thing: when it comes to those kinds of games like Pandora's Tower and things like that, you don't see very much advertisement for them, like on TV or on Twitter or just all those big name
I
sites.
was seeing a lot of talk on Twitter from people that I follow. But I understand where you're coming from. But then again, you don't see a lot of advertisements for anything on Nintendo consoles. Period.
Mhm.
And that's the
Advertisement
thing.
wise.
If Nintendo would just wake up, which I can see them starting to a little bit, if they'd wake up just a little bit more and start seeing the big flipping picture here, to where they can take this console generation and put the boot to the throat of both Microsoft and Sony if they step up the software. If
Mhm.
they step it up as far as being able to release content to where people will come and just buy, then Microsoft and Sony may have to play catch up because I mean, we've heard rumors of the always on thing where Microsoft was concerned. And again, Sony, for me, is just not drumming up enough attention for me to go out and buy a PS3. I'm looking at the Wii U and I'm going, I want one of those, but at the same time, I can wait. I can wait. I can wait. I can wait until the big name games come out. And once those come out, I will leap at one.
Yeah, personally, I have nothing that's really pushed me to go out and get a Wii U at this moment, besides financial reasons. But even game wise, there's nothing that's really pushed me to go out and get a Wii U. I think a lot of the big Nintendo fans that are not leaving at the Wii U are kind of waiting to hear about Smash. They're waiting for Smash to come out. When I got a Wii, I got it right around when Brawl came out. They're waiting for a Smash game. Smash is going to be the big game that's going to sell the Wii U, but it's going to come out too late,
Maybe
and they
not.
can't have that. Um, I would like to see something, and I know this is just streaming because I'm a big RPG fan, but I would like to see something along the lines from Xseed or Monolith Studios, something along the lines of Xenoblade Chronicles, a big Nintendo exclusive RPG that's not fluff, be released for the Wii U system. That would be a must buy title for me. It would probably be a must buy title for a lot of other people, and that really could be what the Wii U needs.
Mhm.
They announced a Xenoblade game back in February for the Wii U system. I did a little write up for it for the Unreal Arcade site, so if you want to go check that out, go check that out.
But
But
What I'm waiting for is the inevitable announcement of the Legend of Zelda Wii U.
that's
Well, they're
already
doing
been
That just
announced.
yeah, the HD
so
remake.
no. I'm talking
she
about
means
a
the next
new
big game.
installment.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the next big game, not a remake. I'm talking about the next big game because you know it's inevitable. And like this is no offense to any Zelda fans, any Link fans, whatever. Bulba, keep your trap shut for 2 seconds. Um,
Hey,
um,
you could show me too. So, yeah, don't pick on
er,
him just because.
well, no, he's usually the one that jumps in anyway, because I'm attacking his series.
I'm
Like
looking for Xenoblade.
these are my like childhood games. Like the games I played were all on the Nintendo because my first system was an NES and then an SNES. And so I played all of the Mario games and all of the Zelda games. I played the Lolo games for anyone who remembers those, in which case you're my hero because I fucking love those games. Um, like, and as much as I love that they've carried on with the series with them, and in some cases they've brought some new things to them, like with Super Mario Brothers. The new Super Mario Brothers and then Super Mario Brothers Wii U, I think, or Super Mario Brothers U is how they called it. Like they added things to it. They made it a multiplayer and it worked well and they've added new elements to make it so that it's fresh and more kids will like to play it for the current generation, which is great because it keeps it alive. But there are some points where it gets to beating a dead horse and it's like anytime I hear them announce a new Mario or a new Zelda game, I'm like, oh God, please don't let this be the one that ends it. Because as much as like it's like my little childhood flashback anytime I play one. Doesn't matter when it actually came out. It takes me back to sitting in my living room at like 5, 6 years old with my dad and watching him play them. And like that's when I started getting into gaming. It's because
Uh,
I loved watching him play, and then he put the controller in my hands, and I like flipped out and went crazy. So I want there to be another Zelda, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, why don't we leave off on a good note and call it the end?
I
And it's the
don't.
same thing with the Mario games, but I know it's not going to happen.
yeah, Nintendo just doesn't do that. They're all about it trying to reinvent their franchises, which normally just means doing what they've done before with a bit more polish, which people are fine with, so I'm not going to get on them. Now, speaking of consoles needing a killer app, I've been playing the demo of the game Soul Sacrifice for PSV, which should be coming out soon. That seems like that is something to look into because that just the way that it plays, the way it controls the story, it kind of feels like it could be the game the PSV needed to be a contender with the Nintendo DS or 3DS. Only time will tell, but I think it's really intuitive and nice. Give it a shot. Moving on to a bit of controversy. Game called Orion Dino Beatdown. Steam game. You run around shooting dinosaurs in a horde mode style game. Just keep doing that over and over and over again. And it was very crappy. The animations were bad. The sounds were bad. Everything was bad. And the development team decided they were going to release an update. They were going to release a bunch of new maps, a bunch of new guns. They weren't actually going to update their textures or anything else, and they're going to rebrand the game from Orion Dino Beatdown to Orion Dino Horde, call it a sequel, get it a new Steam page, a new Metacritic page, and sell it as this rebranded sequel. That's the first bit of controversy. The second bit of controversy coming out of this is that on the forum, the Steam forums for this game, the developers were abusing their power. To anyone who spoke up against the game was banned and their posts were removed, so completely censored. Which I'm going to put this out there for anyone who's not aware of it. It's called the Streisand effect. If you put something out there, or if someone puts something out there and you try to censor it, it is only going to make that information spread faster. Censorship does not work on the internet. It never has. Um, and Metacritic wised up and they're like, hey, you can't do this. They gave them their old thing back. But Steam is still continuing to sell this, and it's listed when you start up the game. It is called the Orion Dino Horde multiplayer beta. Nowhere on the Steam page does it say it's a beta. Nowhere on the Steam page does it say this used to be Orion Dino Beatdown. They're trying to sell this as a completely new game. And I would like to get some opinions on whose fault you think this is. Should Steam be held responsible for this, or should we try and lynch the developer?
It's. Mm,
Uh,
mm. Did I mention, like, don't you remember me mentioning at the beginning of this that, like, my brain's kind of fried and all messed up? And now you're throwing at okay, who's actually responsible?
It was more of a bit of me being a bit of a jerk with that question. I think the answer is obvious. Steam is at fault for this because
yeah.
the developer, sure, they're going to try things. Developers are always going to try things. It is ultimately up to Steam to make sure that what is on their service is accurate. If they're not going to check every game, they've at least got to check games once people start complaining about it. And last I check, they have not done anything with Orion Dino Horde. Hell, they acted on the War Z faster than they've acted on this piece of crap.
Um, I'd also like to point out that this is another ethics thing when it comes to the people who actually created this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand when it comes to developers literally taking the same game, changing a few things, re releasing it, and calling it a sequel. You are beating a dead horse. And if people were already not happy with how something was in the first game, to re release it with some added guns and maps obviously isn't going to fix the issues from the first one if the issue wasn't there's one flipping gun and two flipping maps.
I'm not against the idea as a whole. I think if you patch your game enough to make it significantly different, significantly improved, I'm not against the idea of you rebranding it as a sequel and selling it as such. But you've got to make it known what its origins is so that people know what they're getting into, because it could turn out exactly like this. This is the scenario that those rules are trying to prevent against.
Exactly. It's kind of like PS3 PlayStation is re-releasing Kingdom Hearts and it's one of the DS titles that is like can be directly involved with the original Kingdom Hearts game. They're remastering them, combining them together and then releasing it for the system. But you already know that they're literally just going to combine some stuff together, add a few new things, call it good and release it. But to just release it and say, "Oh yeah, it's totally a sequel." Yeah, don't worry about it. No, you're crazy. It's totally not the same game. We don't know what you're talking about. That's being a douchebag.
Which is kind of what I think they did with Kingdom Hearts Recoded. They didn't really try and make it known that the game was just a cell phone game that they were tarting up for the 3DS. Um, but yeah, I just wanted
Yeah.
to bring that up as a little thing for Steam users to just be careful out there. There are a lot of game developers out there to screw you over. Be smart with your
Also,
purchases.
Steam rule or Valve rule one of the internet. Don't be a dick.
One on the internet, don't be a dick.
I thought rule one of the internet was you have to be a dick.
That's what I
Nope,
was
nope.
thinking.
Rule 1 is don't be a dick.
Rule
Okay,
2
rule
is
two
disregard
you.
rule 1.
Yeah.
No, rule 2.
Rule 2 is there are exceptions to rule 1.
And then rule 3
Just
is
like
assume
everyone on the YouTube comment section.
Yeah.
Hello down there.
Hi.
Hello, friends.
All right, moving on.
You look like ants down there.
Ubisoft Montreal CEO Yanis Mallet has some egg on his face after he, in an interview, he said because people are always online with their cell phones and their iPads and their laptops and their consoles, that the market is now ready for always online. Now, why does he have egg in his face? Well, the timing he chose to do this was very poor. Um, the Xbox Live was down. Their Microsoft is claiming it was routine maintenance caused the a hiccup in the service. Hackers, however, are claiming that they hacked it, so we don't know who's right there. tend to lean towards the hackers, but don't really want to take sides. Um, there was and at the same time, Ubisoft, the company this guy is CEO of, their service Uplay is down due to hacking. Um, so he's claiming that the market's ready for always on at a time when an always on console would mean you wouldn't be allowed to play your games.
Yeah.
Good job, Mr. Mallet. Um, Now, this is leading credence, even more credence, to the fear that the next Xbox will be always on. Because if it wasn't, why would so many talking heads be risking their reputation to come out here and be like, yes, this is perfect. The market is ready for this. Why don't you all just get in line and bow your heads like the sheep you are? I'm not hearing any bang.
Yeah, which just makes me think if this is really going to happen, if next Xbox is going to be always on, the new PlayStation and the Wii U might have a shot this console generation. Console generation.
I discussed this a little bit with Jin yesterday. I'll come out right now and say it. If Microsoft come out and say that their system will be always on, they are dead in the water before they even freaking get up. And I personally feel that if Nintendo steps their game up with software, that they will take it and run to the bank. I
Mm-hmm.
will
See,
stand by that statement right now.
there's a difference between the always on that they're pushing and the type of always on that some of the more recent consoles have been. Like for example, the Wii uh, would be always connected, but the thing was you could still play your Wii games because what I was doing was checking in for updates. But that was what that little light was. It
Mm-hmm.
was connected to your internet. But the thing is, your internet could go down. You could still play your Wii games. Nintendo understood that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
it was a type of always on, but it's not the same type of always on they're talking about right now. And I think again, you actually covered that last week.
Exactly. The end user cannot control your servers, and these companies need to understand that. The remember when the PSN was down to those? I think it was down for almost 3 months due
Yep.
to hacking. The Xbox Live has been down to hacking. Ubisoft's own servers got DDoSed the week and a half after Assassin's Creed 2 came out, and that was always on, so no one was able to play Assassin's Creed 2 on PC when it came out. The users cannot control your stuff, and because you mess up, the users should not be punished for it. And your mistakes, you may claim they're not your mistakes, but if someone hacks your servers, that is on you. You should have had more security. You can say hackers are always going to get through, but it's your job to make sure they don't.
They're going to be hackers are going to be ever are going to be always are going to always be vigilant trying to get in and take you down, but you
Mhm.
should be ever more so vigilant to stop them from doing it.
All right. And the
My
other thing I
thing,
want to point out is the thought that people are always online. I'm going to answer that right now by picking up my iPod and sliding the lock. The fucking hell they are. My iPod is normally connected, or my iPhone is normally connected to the internet. Right now, no connection. I can still use it. Why? Because I have a shitty connection. The internet on this thing goes down all the time. If I lost the ability to use it every time I lost connection, I'd be screwed.
And no one would buy an iPhone. No one would buy an iPhone.
Exactly.
my thing with the whole always on thing, if Microsoft announces that the next Xbox or whatever it is that they release is going to be always on, I will keep my current generation. I won't switch to PS3. I won't switch over to Nintendo, at least as of right now, because
Just collect old games you weren't able to
it's
buy before.
Hmm.
exactly. And it's not because I don't that because I'm so dutiful to Microsoft that I'm not going to switch. No. The PS3 I may get. I've been considering getting one for a while, but I won't upgrade to the PS4 because as far as we know from the last time I saw any announcements about it, there would be no backwards compatibility. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
Doesn't even matter if you bought something on the network and it's attached to your account, you would not be able to bring that over, which is bullshit. And I don't agree with that, so I wouldn't be buying a PS4. I would buy a used PS3 from ye old GameStop and buy a shit ton of used games because Sony wouldn't get a dime of my money. It would all go to GameStop since they're the ones who bought the stuff from another customer at some point.
Mhm.
And then for the Nintendo, there aren't enough games on the Wii to make me want to get one, and they're too dang expensive for the amount of stuff you get and the fact that you can only use one of the game pads currently with it instead of having two like you've seen it advertised. They
Mhm.
can't have two game pads work at one time currently. So, I would
Assuming that's
stick
a software issue.
yeah, it's conflicting software issue. They're working on it and they're eventually going to release an update that will fix it. But currently not happening. So the current next gen for Nintendo isn't cutting it for me. From the information that I know about PS4, no bueno, not going to go there. And if Microsoft announces always on, I'm going to stick with my Xbox. I like my Xbox anyway. It looks like R2D2 and makes adorable sounds. It's pretty freaking awesome.
You know what?
And anything in the future that releases that I want, I will get on PC. I will buy it for PC, and that'll be the end of that.
You know what? I'll one up it. I'll go way old. I'll go way old school. A few more console generations back, I'll break out my Sega Saturn
But hey, at least with the Wii U, you've got at least some kind of backwards fucking compatibility.
with the Wii. Yeah.
Yeah. Now here's my thing, and this is something I hadn't thought of until a couple days ago, but this is another big one. If the 720 is always on, then and they continue the way they've been, this would be how much I'd be paying, because just to play my games. Because think of this: internet connection costs money, especially bandwidth. A lot of people have caps on their bandwidth. Now I'd have to buy the new console, however much that costs, and then I'd have to pay $15 a month to connect to their service, and on top of the $120 a month I already pay for my internet connection. That's $135 a month just to play my games. What if I suddenly have a bad month and can't afford my Xbox Live or my internet? Then I can't play my games by default because of that. That is another reason why it's a bad idea.
My thing is, if they go to always on, then they should cut the entire you have to pay to be gold thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to force us to always be online and use the online service in order to play our games, you should not be charging us.
That's
Period.
Yeah, that's a bit fair. And another thing, I think I told Eddie about this. I had the idea for a multi-tiered server solution if they are so stuck on this idea of just do what MMOs do. Have servers for Xbox Live all over the place and have them have some of them are like the big servers that are more hackable and have some of them small servers that just send out a signal. Like if all the other servers are down, you can still connect to this one that will send a signal telling your Xbox, oh, it's fine, play the games. Something like that would make this a lot more bearable. Sure, you wouldn't be able to play if your internet goes down, but or well, yeah, if your internet goes down, but if the servers go down, people aren't screwed. And this, going to my last talking point, and this is a big one to the people watching. I want to know what you think, because we've did our thing on Cliff Blazinski. There was Adam Orth, now Yanis Mallet, and all other industry talking heads. Should we really listen to what they say? Should CEOs have any? Well, I'm not going to say they shouldn't speak their mind, but should we really listen to what they have to say? Because they have a vested interest not in the consumer, they have a vested interest in their company. So, do you think we should give them the time of day when it comes to situations like this?
My thing with it is that when I see like, because Cliffy B posts all the time on Twitter and gets into all sorts of conversations about the gaming industry there, and I'm sure I know other CEOs and or people who are bigwigs or higher up at companies do. Um, I take it as it's their opinion and it is them as a person. I don't think of their job. I think of exactly what are they saying? What could they use to back that up? What made them come to that? And if it's someone that I know would respond or I felt like curious enough to do it, I'd be like, hey, why do you think of it that way? Rather than just being like, oh, they're just dumb. They're just out to get all the money. And it's a thing that we should listen to it, but it's like, it's the same thing that like my parents taught me is that, everyone has an opinion and everyone's opinion you need to take with a little grain of salt because sometimes they may have a great idea but it's not possible to do, or they may have a terrible idea, but there's something that rings true about it that you can learn from.
And I don't disagree. For Cliff Bleszinski, I feel because he's not got as many vested interests, he's not working anywhere at the moment. I feel he was a little more open. Like, actually, the way he talked in that blog, you can definitely tell that's what he really thought because he said a lot of things he probably shouldn't have. Whereas everything Mr. Mallet said was very calculated. What he said was definitely for the best wishes of his company, because if he said anything otherwise, the shareholders would probably vote to fire him. But anyway, answer my question, like, subscribe, tell us we're wrong. We like that because it makes us feel big to think you're an idiot. We have been the Sloppy Gaming Podcast. Peace.
Latos.
Monkeys.
Play us out, Eddie.
Nope.
Bananas.
Not this week. Do 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 do.
That was good enough.